So in this video, we're going to talk about why Mr. Untouchable himself, Quentin Grimes, why he was dealt away to Detroit Pistons. And we're going to get to the bottom of all of the politics. So let's talk about it. First off, round of applause. I am the objective fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes. Man, welcome to the channel, man. Yo, honestly,
don't forget to like this video.
Before we get started,
subscribe to my channel.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, do all those things. I got an action-packed one for you. So, coming off the RJ Barrett video, shout out to the RJ Barrett video. That video did well. I talked about the real reason why he was dealt away. So Quentin Grimes, he never had any real pressure on him as the 21st overall pick in the first round back in 2021. So he never really had any pressure on him to perform, nor did he have any pressure on him to produce. I'll jump into research mode right quick. I'll bounce from research mode in and out of research mode. So I have his stats up here right now. And as you can see, in his first year, he was giving you 6 a game off 38% shooting from 3. You see that 38% shooting from 3? That was his bread and butter. Plus, he was a really talented defender. And he only got 17 minutes that year. But that 17 minutes was garnered from his defense and that three-point shooting percentage. So he was touted as a 3-and-D guard, right? And I jumped out of research mode for now. So he had a different path than RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett was drafted as the number 3 pick, and he was asked to be the second best player, third best player on the team. Quentin Grimes never had that pressure. Now, what's interesting about Grimes, he definitely is the last of the Mohicans. He's the last first-round pick drafted under the Leon Rose regime, actually drafted of any player on the team left. So that tells me that that whole untouchable moniker was all cap. I never believed it, and it started with the Donovan Mitchell trade. Now, I have to let you guys know that it is in Leon Rose I trust. Salute to Leon Rose. The number one or one of the best GMs in basketball. He's making great moves. The man has only made 1.5 mistakes. Trading Grimes is not a mistake. Trading RJ, trading quickly, though, in my opinion, those are not mistakes. Some people view not getting Donovan Mitchell a mistake. I'm going to touch on that. So before we continue the video, I just want to put you on to the hottest live play-by-play reaction videos you could find on YouTube. It's going to be right here on this channel on 24/24, right? That will be the Knicks versus Celtics. That's going to be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know how we do. Anytime the game is on national TV and not on MSG, I got to do a live commentary. And how we rock it is you watch on mute, I watch on mute, and I do all the commentary. You be in the chat. It's going to be live. Listen, watch the Knicks with a friend, and I'll see you there on the 24th. But I do want to set the stage that Grimes was not necessarily traded for his performance. Yes, his performance wasn't the best. Yes, his production and his output dropped. When you look at year 2, we'll jump right back into research mode. I'm gonna bounce in and out of research mode. Pow. So when you look at year 2, right? Year 2. So this is coming off Donovan Mitchell trade rumors. He's feeling himself. He's giving you 11 points a game, right? He's shooting 38% from 3. So and he became a starter. He started 66 games. And he was getting approximately 30 minutes a game, 29.9 minutes a game. So when you look at this, his production did drop in 2024, but that was because he was given a different role, right? He still averaged more points than he did as a rookie. His three-point shooting percentage definitely was down, and his overall shooting percentage definitely dropped to below 40, which is bad. But the role was different. And his shooting actually got better over this time during the season because they took him outside of the starting lineup and brought him to the bench. It's because of that change, in my opinion, that's why they had to make the move. Once he became a bench player, they decided to move on. So I want to get back to this untouchable thing, right? So I got some stuff here, right? This is my famous article to those in Facebook groups at this time because I wasn't on YouTube back in 2022, but I was banging pretty hard on Facebook. And so salute to Stephen A. Smith. I don't understand. He actually is the reason why we have this article because Stephen A. was told from another person that Ainge said that he'd trade Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks when hell freezes over. Look at Ainge. Now, to those Knicks fans that said that that was cap, right? Hold on, I'm going to jump outside of research mode. To you fans, do understand that this politics, this clique behavior, group, team, former players comes into play all the time. How do you think the Big Three was formed in Boston? It was formed because Danny Ainge, who at the time was the GM president for the Celtics, had his good old buddy, his good old teammate from back in the days, right? Who is Kevin McHale. Now, Kevin McHale was a Celtic. They won championships together. That's his man's in them. So when they did the trade for for KG, you can't even, I don't even remember the guys who they gave up in Boston in that deal to Minnesota. Bottom line is, Kevin McHale did his mans in them a favor. Knicks and Celtics, I understand that a lot of you guys don't really understand the gravity of the rivalry between the Knicks and Celtics because many of us wasn't around. I wasn't around in the 70s. In the 90s, Boston fell off because they lost Larry Bird and then the tragic passing of Len Bias, who was supposed to carry on the torch. He passed away, but which was a cheat code in itself. How did a team winning championships get a top college player? But I digress. The grand point of this all is Danny Ainge and certain teams and certain GMs don't want to help other teams and certain GMs based off of these ties, these connections, right? These traditions. So this is according to Stephen A. Smith, who also pushes, by the way, that Quentin Grimes, Leon Rose refused to trade him. That has been the report. Woj talked about a lot of reporters said that the Knicks refused to trade Quentin Grimes. They even threw around this word untouchable, which I never believed. So let's jump back into research mode, right? And I'm going to tell you why I don't believe it in a second. So this is back in 2022, right? As we could see from up here. Now, the Knicks were seemingly the favorite to land Donovan Mitchell. But Utah Jazz CEO Danny Ainge reportedly had no interest in making the deal. Stephen A. Smith explained this, right? Because he keeps talking about Quentin Grimes. When the Knicks brass showed up for the playoff game with Jalen Brunson on one side and Donovan Mitchell on the other, I was told that Danny Ainge sat up there and said, when hell freezes over, I will do a deal with them. And we'll end the quote right there. Okay? So some of the offers, right, and this was according to Woj, they had packages including RJ Mitchell Robinson. Those are the guys in this trade. RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and Obi Toppin. Notice the theme here. First off, I talked about this in the RJ Barrett video. Mitchell Robinson and RJ were from the previous regime, which was the Steve Mills, Scott Perry regime. Even though Scott Perry stayed on, it was more of scout with Leon Rose in the new regime, right? But these were prior to Leon Rose's, his reign. So that's possibly a reason why these guys are featured. And then his one mistake is Obi Toppin. Why do you say that that's a mistake? I say it's a mistake because he should have drafted Tyrese Halliburton. That was the guy we needed. Everyone said Halliburton, for whatever reason, Leon Rose didn't get him. It's fine. That's his one mistake. So it's not shocking to me that these guys were first offered. So a little back history is not in this article. I don't want to pull up too many articles, but some back history to this, and this is why I'm saying it's cap. I'm gonna get to why it's cap. Once Mitchell Robinson was denied, because I believe this was the first offer, was RJ, Mitchell Robinson, Obi Toppin, 3 picks. Jazz turned the offer down. My thing is, Mitchell Robinson got his deal, of course, right? Which was the 64-year 60. Then eventually RJ got his deal. Because RJ was offered in multiple packages. So basically, Leon Rose was going on with his plan if Ainge wasn't playing ball. because it appears Ainge was being difficult. And I think part of the difficulty was because he was working out a deal with the Cavs, which is the ultimate deal that he took. He'd rather send Mitchell to the Cavs than the Knicks. And you don't have any reports, unless Danny Ainge comes out and says it himself, you don't have any reports to counter that claim, right? Listen, I've read so many reports on this. I don't for one second believe that Grimes was untouchable, because clearly he became touchable, right? Now, RJ then got his salary, right? Now, look, Immanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes were also discussed in talks, although the Knicks didn't want to deal Grimes. This part is unclear to me, because in none of the offers that I saw did they ever have Quentin Grimes a part of the deal. So Quentin Grimes was never offered in the trade. Because he was never offered in the trade, they say that that's why he's untouchable. But get this. Show me the article or the report where Danny Ainge countered an offer from the Knicks and said, I want this. Couldn't find it. And I believe the reason why Ainge was being difficult in the negotiations, because he didn't really want to have a deal with the Knicks. He wanted to see if he could fleece the Knicks, but Leon Rose is smart. That's why the deal didn't happen. It wasn't necessarily because Grimes was untouchable. Trust me, do you, and I'm going to ask you a real question as Knicks fan. Do you believe that if Danny Ainge said, give me RJ, Grimes, Obi, and 3 picks, he's not doing that deal? If Ainge said that, you believe that Leon Rose is not going to do that deal? Knowing what we know today, knowing that Obi was eventually traded for 2 first-round picks, knowing that RJ Barrett was eventually traded in the OG Anunoby, a part of the package to bring OG and Precious to New York, you don't think that Quentin Grimes, who just was traded last week, or I'm not sure when this video is going to be dropped, you don't think that Grimes would go on that deal? I laugh when they say he's untouchable. They don't know. I'm not going to say they don't know what they're talking about. They do. It's just that they're not really paying attention to certain details. So bringing it back to the stats and the numbers, right? So this 7 points a game was not cutting it. He started 18 games. His production as a starter was worse as a bench player. You know what? Let's go to the logs. Let me see if I could honestly get the averages. Let me see if I could get the averages. Okay, I'm going to go to game logs so we can actually see the production and the work. Then we'll move on. So this is what he did as a starter. His highest point total as a starter, we'll do it like that, was 17. I already see a 19 game off the bench, and I know he had multiple 19. Look at all these 19 games. See all these 19-point games? Here's one here. I got the cursor over it. 19-point game, right? Off the bench. 19-point game off the bench. Multiple 19-point games off the bench. As a starter, he had an array. Matter of fact, I'm gonna sort this by the date. Look at his production as a starter. 0 ball, 4 points, 0 points, 6 points, 3 points, 3 points, 0 points. This was the final stretch before he started coming off the bench. And as soon as he got to the bench, look at the difference. 13 points, 19 points. He had a 2-point game here. But 9, 8, right? And then his production dropped a bit. You know, he had an injury. But no, he actually didn't have an injury at this point. Earlier, he had the injury right here. He missed these games. So I show this to show that Quentin Grimes was playing better as a bench player. So the reasoning behind this trade is not necessarily due to his performance, which if you look at just the yearly stats, you would think that. But you didn't realize that he was trending upward when he went to the bench. So Quentin Grimes was traded because when he first went to the bench, he started performing well. But remember, the team also started to lose games. This is pre-OG Anunoby. Because once OG Anunoby got to the Knicks, his minutes went down dramatically. So OG Anunoby, Precious Anunoby eventually, Dante DiVincenzo, all these guys are playing a lot of minutes. And I'm going to do another video talking about the health of the Knicks and how that can impact the team. But he was traded because he wasn't going to be Immanuel Quickley. I know I did a video saying the imminent Immanuel Quickley trade when he was traded. But I'm starting to believe that the Knicks didn't want to trade Quickley. Not in that deal. I think they wanted to move. because I think that they know they needed his production off the bench. Once they saw that Deuce is a serviceable point guard, that's why they gave him the money. Josh Hart, you already know what he does. He's like his name, he brings the heart. And Precious already show you what he does, hustle. But you don't have no lethal bona fide scorers. Quentin Grimes is more of a 3-and-D guy who can create at times, shows flashes, but he's not Emmanuel Quickly. So eventually, the Mr. Untouchable, who's not untouchable, right, as we were showed, he had to go in the deal. And, he was a nice guy about it. He bowed out gracefully, said, he thanked New York, and New York thanks him, and hopefully he turns into a young, talented player. But he is a young, talented player. Maybe he develops into some sort of an all-star one day. Who knows? But the last thing I want to touch on, I'm going to let this go because this video is longer than I want, but the man also was up for a contract extension. The Knicks prefer guys on rookie scale deals, low deals, because they're trying to really get a star player. The Knicks is not done. If you think the Knicks are done trying to get star talent, guess again. And anyone is expendable if it makes sense. And Leon Rose, I trust. That's all for this video.
Don't forget to like this video and also
as you can see, these are some of the reasons why I find that Quentin Grimes was traded. He was never untouchable. They were waiting for the right move. He's on a rookie scale contract, right? Why would you trade a guy like that unless you're getting him for someone and you're doing it with him in a package? That makes sense. The Bojan Bogdanovic trade for Alec Burks, it was a whole plethora of guys and a couple of second-round picks. It just made sense. Now you get guys that are bona fide buckets off the bench, and guess what? You still have your defense. You still have Precious. You still have Hart. You still have Deuce, right? You still got a crew there. And you're deeper. And you're going to need that going into the playoffs, especially with health issues. That's all for this video. Hopefully I unpacked for you why Grimes had to go. So until next time, let's go Knicks.